Challenger!
Hey, Frog Prince Joanna here, and thank you for dropping by. Often I come across flat earth or other conspiracy videos with silly claims that takes me ages to explain and debunk. Then again, there are other videos that are just so dumb that there is nothing to even talk about. It would be mostly pointing fingers and laugh, almost zero addition. Here is a compilation of such videos that have been sitting on my list, so I thought I might just well go through it and reduce the length of that list. For first clip, we have TheRealM Inverted Earth Toroid concave monopole. Now, he did reach out to me a couple of weeks ago to peer review his videos. Silly old me had forgotten all about it and had to be reminded. The link I was given was part 2, which started with some numbers without any explanations, which meant I had to look at the first part. I was all ready to watch 34 minutes between two videos. The problem was, I just managed to watch only about 15 minutes, and the only point I didn't have any issue with was his comment that he is from South Africa. I did reply with the longest comment I have ever written, as I did feel guilty. Here is a quick summary. TheRealM claims
the first people on Earth were black, and they came from Antarctica.
Well, to start with, what do we classify as first people? Evolution is a fact. Australopithecines have been discovered in South and East Africa. Homo habilis inhabited parts of sub-Saharan Africa. Homo erectus, the first true hunter-gatherer ancestor, was found in Asia. Homo heidelbergensis, who had similar brain capacity to modern humans, lived in Africa and Europe. Next claim was,
It's most probably the people living underground because of the Ice Age.
There have been at least 5 major ice ages in the Earth's history. The last one being Quaternary period that began 2.58 million years ago, and technically is still ongoing. Though normally when we use the term Ice Age, we really mean glacial period, and that is not a worldwide ice age where everything freezes to death. Skipping over some, we come across,
I don't know, the day Jesus was born, so for the last 2020 years we've been worshipping the sun.
well, a year is roughly how long it takes Earth to orbit the Sun, and that roughly is why we have leap year. That is not really worshipping the Sun. I also point out that other civilizations also have their own calendar. For example, in Bengali calendar, the year is 14,027. From what I remember from school, the year starts just after harvest and tax collections. Yes, even those days, farmers had to pay taxes to local monarchs, kings, and ranas. Well, I lie. I don't think ranas were collecting tax, but it should be obvious why I would put it there. Then we have...
So yeah, what you've got here is the Antarctic azimuth map. And basically there's more north when that freezes over, etc, etc. Does anybody go this way? No, because your compass is going to send you off and you're most probably going to have an ice barrier.
Well, many people have trekked across Antarctica. We have people taking photos and videos at 0 degrees south. Sorry to break it to you, there is no treaty stopping you from visiting, and there is no ice barrier to stop us going to the imaginary beyond. This one, I don't even understand.
Edward Leedskalnin, yeah, I reckon he has something to do with Tesla. They're both from Latvia. The Latvians have the brains.
Well, I don't know who this Edward Leedskalnin is, and if this Tesla is Nikola Tesla, well, he was not from Latvia, but he was born in Croatia. Even if we think Russian Empire before breakup, it would still not be Latvia. Now Latvia, I lived in Riga for a while, and my lost true love is from there. It is also the place where I met the most stupid person in real life. This lady who covered a lit candle with a glass and wondered why the flame goes off. So just like any other place, you have smart people with stupid people. Finally,
but everybody got the brains from the Southerners. But
oh dear. Way to minimize all other achievements around the world. One of the most important discovery, so to speak, zero. The first recorded instance is from Mesopotamia around 3 BC. The Mayans invented it independently circa 4 AD. It was later devised in India in the mid-5th century, spread to Cambodia near the end of the 7th century, and into China and the Islamic countries at the end of the 8th. Then I point out what would be wrong with a flat earth and /or map. The typical stuff, sun, moon wouldn't make sense, Polaris and Southern Cross would have some words as well. Next we have Woketown with a video titled, Why I Believe in a Flat Earth.
I came to believe in a flat earth based on scripture, logic, and experimentation.
So much stupid in less than 3 minutes. Scripture, logic, and experimentation. Well, one of those words do not belong with the remaining two. Abrahamic scriptures talks about us coming from Adam and Eve and all the remaining incest. I just talked about evolution. How does that fit with logic? Or the logic of having a pair of all known species on an ark that was smaller than Titanic?
People say the Bible is not a science book. That is true. Science books were written by man and
Science books are indeed written by men and women. Guess what? So was Bible, Quran, Torah, Gita, and so on.
the fact that I can scientifically disprove the globe does not prove the Earth is flat, but it does give me the right to speculate on other models. Seeing as there is no measurable curvature or motion, the flat, non-rotating Earth is a logical place to start.
Woketown can scientifically disprove the globe. Well, does he or she mean the kind of science where you say it looks flat and we don't feel motion? Well, newsflash, that is not scientific. Observation is a start, but there are other steps after that. Clouds look fluffy to me. It looks like it would be super light. Well, researchers have calculated that the average cumulus cloud, which is that nice white fluffy kind you see on a sunny day, if it has a size of 1 cubic kilometer, it would weigh only 500,000 kilograms. Yes, the only is a joke. I should use incredible instead. To put that into perspective, it is the same as 275 average car weight.
The fact that I have proof in lack of curvature and lack of motion, which according to Albert Einstein is enough to disprove the entire heliocentric model.
Bringing up Albert Einstein was an interesting touch. Woketown rejects every other scientist and yet cherry picks a quote from Einstein and not even continue with the entire quote. Yes, it is actually important to read the whole thing and not stop after seeing what one wants. The quote came from his quote address, How I Created the Theory of Relativity, December 14, 1922. Einstein said, While I was thinking of this problem in my student years, I came to know the strange result of Michelson experiment. Soon I came to the conclusion that our idea about the motion of the Earth with respect to the ether is incorrect if we admit Michelson's null result as a fact. This was the first path which led me to the special theory of relativity. Since then, I have come to believe that the motion of the Earth cannot be detected by any optical experiment, though the Earth is revolving around the Sun. The optical experiment is the Michelson-Morley experiment. Before his theory of relativity, scientists hypothesized the ether theory which Michelson-Morley experiment tried to confirm. Hope that clears it up for Woketown. Next we have Chris the Flat Earther with, I'm a flat earth proponent because the heliocentric model is flat out wrong. Well, I think the title should have read Because I'm an Idiot.
Alright guys, today we're going to be looking at more of the three-body problem. I promise the next video I do, we're going to go back into the Book of Enoch. this is something that is the juggernaut that disproves the heliocentric model. The scientific establishment with their own math admits that the heliocentric model is impossible mathematically.
Well, another one using scientific theory when they think it suits them, and then falls back on that damn Book of Enoch. I should really reread that crap. Did that once about 13 years ago, and I vaguely remember how hard it was to go through all that nonsense. Perhaps being much older, I would have more patience now, but then again, I would also have a bit more knowledge. First, allow me to show you a comic strip from one of my favorite creator, XKCD. This is priceless. Now to address Chris. Science does not have an explanation for every damn thing, yet. Before Louis Pasteur came along in 1861 and gave us germ theory, well, we all had subscribed to miasma theory. That basically stated that diseases were the product of environmental factors such as contaminated water, foul air, and poor hygienic conditions. Such infections, according to the theory, were not passed between individuals, but would affect those within a local that gave rise to such vapors. So does that mean before 1861 there was no such thing as germs? Of course not. We just didn't have a proven explanation for that. In physics, the n-body problem is the problem of predicting the individual motions of a group of celestial objects interacting with each other gravitationally. The classical physical problem can be informally stated as the following. Given the quasi-steady orbital properties, like instantaneous position, velocity, and time, of a group of celestial bodies, predict their interactive forces and consequently predict their true orbital motions for all future times. Now, simply put, there are exact equations for describing the movement of two bodies reacting to each other's gravitational pull, but no such exact equation exists for systems of three or more bodies. A frequent observation in a random n-body encounters is that one or more bodies are ejected from the system by achieving escape velocity. But stable solutions are possible. A closed-form solution would allow one to predict for how long such an arrangement would remain stable. We have general solutions and special case solutions, but the physicists do want an exact solution, and thus it is a big deal in physics. Now, I might be completely wrong, but I would bet dimes to donuts that Chris has no understanding of physics or n-body problem. Well, Chris, on screen, I have Carl F. Sandman's general solution. Please do a video explaining it. Then we can perhaps have it peer-reviewed by a real physics teacher. I don't know, perhaps Baldy Cats? To further understand the situation, the corresponding series converges very slowly. That is, obtaining a value of meaningful precision required so many terms that this solution is of little practical use. Indeed, in 1930, David Belorowski calculated that if Sandman's series were to be used for astronomical observation, then the computation would involve at least 10 to the power 8 million terms. Final clip is from a channel, Stars Not Far 432, with a video titled, "Is Challenger pilot Michael Smith still alive? I tracked him down. You decide." And this is a video that has been mirrored many times by other flat earthers. According to some description, credit to Stars Not Far 432, a very bold but respectful YouTuber who tracked down the individual believed to be the pilot of the Challenger shuttle from 40 years ago. In this video, you will see for yourself the uncanny resemblance of the man who's speaking on the video.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? I've got some footage that I'm excited to share with you. The footage is of retired University of Wisconsin Emeritus Professor Michael J. Smith. The story goes that 7 of the astronauts who died in the 1986 Challenger explosion are alive and well. And the pilot, Michael J. Smith, is a professor emeritus at UW-Madison. Are you Michael Smith?
Yeah.
Professor at university?
Retired.
Retired?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just stopped by because there's this room. Are you aware of that? There's a rumor on the internet.
It's not me.
That people are saying.
Yeah, it's not me, obviously. I mean, anybody that looks at my background, looks where I was born, it's not me. I mean, it's interesting that the Michael J. Smith that was the astronaut looks something like me when we were younger, but really not if you really look at facial recognition.
You never been a pilot, never been in the military?
Nothing like that.
Huh.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all.
And I don't respond to the emails I get. I get probably an email, maybe 2 a month.
Really?
Yeah, and I got one guy that's been really hounding me, and I turned it over to the FBI.
Really?
You know, yeah. I mean, it's bullshit.
Okay.
You know, another crazy theory.
Okay.
But that's, you know, not me. I'm glad I wasn't him, but he's quite a guy.
Yeah.
You know, but if you look at my career, you look at my CV that's online, all the stuff I've published, all that I've done, it's not even close to what that guy was.
Okay. Yeah, you just sure look a lot. It's the same name.
I know the facial thing, but that's what we looked like, what, 40 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the United States, Michael was the most popular name of the 20th century, ranking number 1 from 1954 to 1998, with the exception of 1960, when it was second to David. It was among the top 3 most popular names for each year since 1953, only falling out of the top 5 in 2011 for the first time since 1949. Smith, as a surname, originated in England. It is the most prevalent surname in the UK, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and the United States, and the 5th most common surname in the Republic of Ireland. Over 2.4 million Americans shared the surname Smith at the time of the 2010 census. Finally, middle initial, that is one of 26 possibilities. Even if we allow equal distribution, though some letters like X and Y occurs a lot less, we would still have around 93,000 American males in 2010. If astronomer Michael J. Smith hadn't died on that horrible accident, he would be in the age group 45 to 64, and that age group was 26.4% of the total population. Yes, he would be 64 and not 65. Households were asked to supply data in their census questionnaire that is accurate as of April 1st, 2010, and Michael was born at 30th April, so he would be near 64 years, 11 months old. This is not accurate, but again, uniform distribution would mean we would have around 24.5 thousand J. Smith in that age group, and Michael is the most popular first name. So the rest is basically seeing what the eye wants to see. A lot of comments like, "Yep, that is how one look 40 years later too. Let's use aging facial images technique." We do know that it is a prediction, right? It is not necessarily what would happen. Oh, the sheer dumbness. Well, that is all the stupidity for one video. I do have a lot more in my list. If this video manages to be popular, I will go through the rest. Who am I kidding? I might do that anyway. I will end with a joke. I was looking for the version that also involved a physicist, and the stage was a ballroom, but can't find that version. Well, this one is 66.6666% of the original joke. But then again, with double 666, it has to be good. Rock on! The mathematician is put in a chair in a large empty room, and a beautiful naked woman is placed on a bed at the other end of the room. The psychologist explains, you are to remain in your chair. Every 5 minutes, I will move your chair to a position halfway between its current location and the woman on the bed. The mathematician looks at the psychologist in disgust. What? I'm not going to go through this. You know I will never reach the bed. And he gets up and storms out. The psychologist makes a note on his clipboard and ushers the engineer in. He explains the situation, and the engineer's eyes light up and he starts drooling. The psychologist is a bit confused. Don't you realize that you'll never reach her? The engineer smiles and replied, Of course, but in less than half an hour, I'll be close enough for all practical purposes. Yes, I'm an engineer. Well, that is it. If you have enjoyed this content, please do leave a like, comment, and maybe share it around. If you could also subscribe, that would be thoroughly appreciated. Thank you for watching. Wherever you are, have a safe day. Signing off.